General Garland, thank you for your service to our country. I'd like to try to get to three important areas. Number one, let me follow up on some of the questions we've had around guns, in particular ghost guns. They are often obtained without a background check, and most ghost guns are untraceable. These weapons are incredibly attractive to criminals, increasingly common, and should concern us all. This March, Pennsylvania investigators uncovered a trafficking ring suspected of frequenting gun shows to sell ghost guns, spreading them in my district and across our Commonwealth. Access to ghost guns impacts regular Americans like Heather Sue Campbell and Matthew Bowersox of Snyder County, Pennsylvania, who were shot and killed last year by Heather's ex-husband, the subject of a protection order. He took her life with a ghost gun, a homemade P80 polymer 9mm pistol. Could you continue to talk about how the proliferation of ghost gun hinders the ability of law enforcement, and what is DOJ's strategy to protect us from ghost guns? This is in follow-up to my colleague, Representative McBath.
Yes, we are finding more and more ghost guns at violent crime scenes. I don't remember the statistics exactly, but I believe in both New York and in Chicago, I was told that at least 20% of the crime scenes, particularly the violent crime and murder scenes, we're finding that they were done by ghost guns. Ghost guns have two problems, one of which is they're untraceable because they don't have serial numbers. And second, they're not subject, or at least I should say there's been some dispute about whether they're subject to requiring background checks. That's the reason that we initiated a rulemaking to require that the parts of the gun, which are sold as kits in parts, are stamped with serial numbers by the manufacturer, and that when they are sold, they must have serial numbers on them as a kit, and they must run the background checks that you're talking about.
I thank you for that rulemaking, and I hope that we here in the legislature will do more to protect us and our safety from the proliferation. On the issue of opioids, as you pointed out, last year was particularly deadly. The total number of people who died of overdose was 93,331 people. And you know that our state, Pennsylvania, is particularly upset with DOJ's sweetheart deal that was made last year with the Sacklers. What can I say? What can you say to victims of addiction, to the families who have lost people by the flooding of the market by the Sackler family, and letting them really, literally, the rich and powerful get away with it?
I don't think I'm able to talk about that case because it's in litigation. The only thing I will point out is the Justice Department opposed the release of liability, personal liability of the family, and that matter on behalf being brought by our bankruptcy trustee and is on appeal right now, I believe.
Well, I thank you for that, and I hope that justice will be done for these families. And finally, on a third matter, asylum. Asylum is a human right. I am horrified by the inhumanity we have seen and the ongoing use of a Trump-era Title 42 authority to expel migrants, all of which is done with no due process. Unstable government, political prosecution, violence. We know what people have suffered and what they are fleeing. You are now at the helm of DOJ. Will you continue the use of Title 42 authority even after CDC has repeatedly stated there was no evidence that the use of Title 42 would slow the spread of COVID?
Well, the use of the authority comes from the CDC itself. They're the ones who issue the orders with respect to Title 42. And this is a challenge also in the courts. We believe that the CDC has a basis because of the concern about spread of COVID, which is what the grounds are. How long that will last is a determination CDC will make with respect to the pandemic and what the threats are with respect to the pandemic. This doesn't have anything to do with my view or the government's view about the importance of asylum. It goes only to the CDC's authority under Title 42 to issue this kind of order.
But it is my understanding, and maybe we could all look at it more closely, that CDC says there is no evidence that the use of Title 42 will slow the spread of and the worry about the spread of COVID from those seeking asylum. I hope we can look into that and stop the use of Title 42. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlelady's time has expired. Ms. Escobar.